The HOA celebrated the day they claimed they owned my farm. They even changed the locks. But in the courtroom, the judge unfolded one dusty document that hadn't been opened in nearly 40 years. Everything changed. If you love HOA stories, HOA revenge, and unbelievable courtroom twists, subscribe now because today's story proves that one forgotten document can destroy the biggest lie. For 3 generations, my family had worked the same 180-acre farm outside Ashford County. Every fence post, every oak tree, every acre carried my family's history. Then one Monday morning, I found a brand new chain stretched across my front entrance. A polished metal sign read, "Property under HOA control. Unauthorized entry prohibited." I stared at it in disbelief. Karen Whitmore, the HOA president, stepped forward with 2 board members and a thick folder. She smiled. "According to our updated survey, this land belongs to Cedar Ridge Estates." I laughed. She didn't. Minutes later, contractors began replacing my farm signs while security guards blocked my driveway. I demanded to see the document. Karen confidently handed me a freshly recorded property map. Everything looked official, even the county seal. For the first time in my life, I wondered if someone had actually stolen my family's farm. That night, while searching through my late grandfather's old barn office, I discovered a locked wooden chest covered in decades of dust. Inside was one unopened envelope, addressed to a judge. Karen believed the case was already over. She didn't know the oldest piece of paper on my farm was worth more than every document in her folder combined. I carried the dusty envelope to family attorney Rebecca Collins the next morning. She carefully broke the brittle wax seal. Inside was a handwritten letter, a certified county survey from 1987, and an original easement agreement signed by my grandfather and the county judge. Rebecca's expression changed instantly. "Where did you find this?" "In Grandpa's old desk." She laid Karen's new property survey beside the older documents. The boundary lines didn't match. Not even close. "This original survey was never revoked," she said quietly. "If it's authentic, the HOA's entire claim could collapse." Within hours, Rebecca requested certified copies from the county archive. 2 days later, the records office confirmed the signatures, survey stamps, and recording numbers all matched perfectly. Meanwhile, Karen called a special HOA meeting. She proudly announced the farm would soon become the community's newest recreation area. Homeowners applauded. None of them knew another courtroom hearing had already been scheduled, and hidden inside the judge's evidence folder was the very document Karen had spent weeks insisting didn't exist. Karen arrived at court expecting one final signature. Instead, the judge asked for one forgotten folder. The entire courtroom went silent. The hearing began with Karen's attorney confidently presenting the HOA's newly recorded survey. He argued the farm had been legally incorporated into Cedar Ridge Estates through updated boundary record. Karen smiled at the homeowners sitting behind her. She believed victory was only minutes away. Then Rebecca Collins stood. "Your Honor, we'd like to introduce newly authenticated county records." The courtroom clerk handed the thick evidence folder to the judge. Inside were the original survey, easement agreement, certified archive copies, and my grandfather's handwritten letter. The judge adjusted his glasses and slowly compared the old survey with the HOA's newer map. He frowned. "These legal descriptions are substantially different." A county surveyor was called to testify. Using enlarged maps, he carefully explained that the HOA survey had relied on a later reference line while completely overlooking the original recorded monument markers that legally controlled the property. The room became silent. Even Karen's attorney stopped taking note. The judge leaned back and looked directly at Karen. "Mrs. Whitmore, did your board verify these original county records before asserting ownership?" Karen hesitated. For the first time since this fight began, she couldn't answer. The judge quietly reached for one final document still resting at the bottom of the evidence folder, and everyone in the courtroom leaned forward. Karen expected the judge to confirm the HOA's ownership. Instead, he unfolded the oldest document in the courtroom, and everything changed. The judge carefully opened my grandfather's handwritten letter. The paper had yellowed with age, but every word was still clear. He read it silently before looking toward the county surveyor. "This letter references monument marker 7. The surveyor nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. That monument has legally defined this property's western boundary since 1987. The judge compared the letter with the original survey and the certified county record. Then he turned to the HOA's updated map. It appears this survey ignored the controlling monument. Karen's attorney quickly stood. "Your Honor, that was an honest mistake." The judge calmly replied, "An honest mistake can still produce an incorrect legal conclusion." The county surveyor displayed enlarged photographs of the original boundary marker. The engraved county seal was still visible. Its GPS location matched the original survey exactly. The judge looked directly at Karen. "Mrs. Whitmore, your association asserted ownership of property that these original county records clearly place outside the HOA." The courtroom became completely silent. Several homeowners exchanged nervous glances. Karen lowered her head. The judge continued, "The original survey remains the controlling legal document. The HOA's ownership claim is denied." A quiet wave of relief washed over me. But the judge wasn't finished. He closed the folder and looked toward both attorneys. "The court will now address the consequences of actions taken while the ownership claim was being enforced." Karen's attorney slowly closed his notebook. He knew what was coming next, because proving who owned the farm had only been the beginning. Karen thought losing the farm was the worst thing that could happen. She was wrong. The judge's next ruling would change the future of her HOA forever. The courtroom remained silent as the judge reviewed the final pages of the case file. He looked first at me, then at Karen. "The court finds that the HOA asserted control over property it did not legally own." He paused. "Furthermore, the association replaced locks, installed signs, restricted access, and interfered with lawful use of private land before confirming ownership." Karen closed her eyes. The judge continued, "Those actions caused measurable financial loss." Rebecca Collins calmly presented invoices for delayed planting, equipment rentals, legal expenses, and restoration costs. Every receipt had been verified. Karen's attorney requested leniency. The judge shook his head. "Property rights are not assumptions. They are established by law." The HOA was ordered to remove every sign, chain, and barrier from my farm immediately. It also had to reimburse the verified financial losses and legal costs approved by the court. Before ending the hearing, the judge addressed the homeowners sitting in the gallery. "This dispute should have been resolved with proper research, not premature action." Weeks later, workers removed every HOA marker from my entrance. The original wooden sign returned. "Walker Family Farm, EST 1948. Homeowners elected a new HOA president, promising transparency and respect for neighboring property owners." As I watched the sunset over fields my grandfather once worked, I thought about the forgotten envelope hidden for decades in that old wooden chest. It hadn't just protected my family's farm, it had preserved the truth. Sometimes the most powerful evidence isn't the newest document in the room. It's the one everyone forgot to look for.